God fucking damn, I really genuinely hate that I have to make this fucking video, that I'm obligated to make this video. I know I'm going to be punished for it. I know the death threats, the transphobic slurs, and ableist attacks will accelerate as a result of making this video, which is a really nice reality considering that I am critiquing so-called leftists. I know people will try to reach out pretending to have good faith, but they honestly can't. I know that people will tell me to watch every single one of these dipshits fucking videos without having the same standard for when these dipshits respond to my video. I can assure you that the vast majority of the fans of these specific dipshits that I will be discussing in this video have never had the same exact experience as I have had. Even if there are some parallels, the grounds on which they are basing their argument in is extremely unfounded. I was born into a Roman Catholic family with relatives who affiliated with white supremacist organizations who have infiltrated law enforcement, who also defend the police gang of Los Angeles called the Executioners. I was a very religious child. I considered my faith in the Christian God to be fundamental to my worldview. To me, the implications of said God meant the very definition of right and wrong, good and evil, and just and unjust. That worldview shattered when at the young age of 11, I witnessed a sexual assault in Sunday school committed by a Catholic priest. I will never forget that experience, and I wish that no one would have to suffer and live through or witness such a horrific act of vile abuse of power and authority over young children. I bring this up because I wasn't radicalized by the alt-right. I wasn't even converted into atheism because of the spike in atheist content on YouTube. I was an atheist since the age of 11, a Leninist since the age of 14, and an anarchist since the age of 18. And I had been an anarchist since. My worldview went from being a devout and loyal member of the Catholic institution to realizing that hierarchical class structures need to justify their legitimacy in power before they can claim that power in the first place without resistance. I was not on the internet flirting with fascism like these fucking bozos were. What's even more ridiculous is that while they claim that they are de-radicalizing the alt-right, these fucking bozos that I speak of are still flirting with fascism. Am I supposed to eat up this absurd contradiction that the same bozos who give white nationalist Lauren Southern a platform to promote her book, the same bozos who have no interest in ceasing the use of racial and ableist slurs, the same bozos who weaponize trans identity but then gaslight trans people when being critiqued on weaponizing trans identity against them. Am I supposed to fucking take these people seriously when they fucking capitalize on the idea of leftism on a platform such as YouTube? Let's start with Destiny. First time I see Destiny is when he's debating JonTron on why nationalism is an incoherent and harmful idea to others. In fact, it's really interesting because I used to be a huge fan of JonTron, and it's not like any of that was surprising considering the fact that Gamergate was a trend that was being accelerated by the alt-right to capitalize on the gamer identity of the gaming community as a recruitment tool for the alt-right itself. So when I saw Destiny completely smash JonTron's tight asshole with the facts and logic, using big brain theory and ideas, I don't fucking care. Like, honestly, it's just like, I could do a better job dissecting why JonTron's nationalist bullshit is incoherent to begin with, but that's besides the fucking point. I'm just saying there was no cognitive dissonance on my end, losing JonTron as, an inspiration to make videos myself. Like, that's not really something that I had to go through as for a lot of people in the gaming community, because it's just like, it's so fucking pathetic that you guys are so loyal to your icons, your dogmatic figures. Like, do you guys ever think for yourself? Like, do you guys ever, like, you know, maybe potentially, like, critique some of your own idols once in a while? You know, kill your heroes? Like, do you not, like, you know, do you let other people do the thinking for you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And if we're talking about Destiny, we're talking about a fucking child who makes Kyle Rittenhouse apologetics on Twitch. Because the fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter if Destiny argued with JonTron once about nationalism. Destiny values private property over people's lives, especially since Destiny's whole career is only advocating for his own success on a capitalist fucking platform. This fucking Gasano, and honestly, they're all fucking Gasanos. These fucking Gasanos will argue that Gasano is an ethnic slur against Cubans without understanding the context of the word Gasano in the first place. Never mind that they use ethnic slurs themselves, never mind that they use ableist slurs themselves, never mind that they use transphobic slurs themselves, and never fucking mind that Gasano is a word that specifically means landowners, because let's be honest here, landowners are maggots and worms. Capitalists and the United States Empire, who are maggots and worms, will invade the global south, Africa, the Middle East, and any other part that has a natural resource that they can exploit, will rob them of their labor and their fucking resources, with the sole intent of profiting off of the expropriation, exploitation, theft, and slavery of those said marginalized and colonized countries. Alright, I'm done bitching about Destiny, let's just fucking get it over with and go with Xanderhal. I'm so fucking done with this shit. Xanderhal's a little boy. He's a little fucking bitch at the end of the day. It's real fucking rich when these fucking dipshits who come from the same demographic that call the left wing or feminist or anyone who opposes fascism a triggered SJW. It's real rich when these fucking people go out of their way to say that not only Pig Puncher is a form of dead naming, but also gets incredibly fucking offended when I Photoshop his logo into a swastika, which already looks like a swastika. It's in the thumbnail right now, and let me just be real with you. If I really wanted to, I could probably Photoshop it into the black sun if I really felt like doing it. I'm pretty fucking sure I could. Harkening back to the dead naming of Pig Puncher, it's really rich when cis white men do this kind of shit, because it's just like, these cis white men in their past lives, I guess, quote unquote, because I mean, it's really debatable as to whether or not de-radicalizing from the alt-right can happen overnight or not, if you know what I'm saying. It's not like something you could just like, you know, make a fucking video about and be like, well, you know what, I flirted with fascism, I thought that fascism was the bee's knees, and then all of a sudden, I just fucking thought, something's weird about this. It's a weird trend, you know. I just wonder that maybe, like, you know, I'm going down the wrong path because I'm just lost, and, you know, I just played video games all day, and I guess I just couldn't think for my fucking self because, you know, I was just watching Steve Molyneux and all that shit because it's just like, he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. You know what, yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, in their past lives, because it feels like whenever they talk about de-radicalizing, they're talking about reincarnating into some more holier, dogmatic being or whatever. I don't fucking know. Like, in their past lives, they would dead name trans people all the fucking time, but now, am I supposed to fucking believe that the same fucking person, Xanderhal, who looked up Blair White's fucking dead name, that he honors the idea of not using someone's dead name with any agency whatsoever? And fucking Vosh, this overtly machismo son of a fucking bastard, whom he himself harbors a secret weapon in order to destroy the white supremacy and save the fucking day, accelerating this fucking vehicle in order to single-handedly pulverize the infrastructural oppression of settler colonialism and the rise of fascism in the United States. His fucking weapon is the tactical use of the N-word. Are you fucking kidding me? When I was in high school, I wrote a song called The Terrorists Have Won. It was a general critique of the surveillance state enforced by the Patriot Act signed by the Bush administration. The point that I was making in that video was that the United States was so focused on catching the bad guys in some caves in Afghanistan and Pakistan, they actually created terrorism not only within the state itself, but they actually reincarnated more terrorists in the Middle East into what was now known as ISIS. This is consistent throughout history, because when the United States invaded Iran in 1953 in order to overthrow the Mohammad Mossadegh regime, they replaced it with the Shah in order to gain access to the British petroleum oil that they were trying to nationalize under the social reforms of Mohammad Mossadegh. As a result of this, the Shah destroyed all radical opposition to the Shah and the United States' control over Iran's population and their control over the oil industry. So you can imagine there was a lot of ethnic cleansing going on within this time, and thus in 1976, when the Iranian Revolution came along, they elected a fundamentalist Islamicist by the name of Ayatollah Khomeini, whom, by the way, was not only an anti-intellectual, but he also shot children and people who kissed in public. He obviously fucking banned homosexuality. And even that is not the only time the United States intervened in the Middle East in order to cause problems for the sake of profit. We can look at the Afghan-Soviet Union War, we can look at the invasion of Iraq, we can look at the invasion of Afghanistan, and all of that shit. I mean, seriously, it's just like, the CIA and MI6 did business deals with the Mujahideen guerrillas, which Osama bin Laden was a part of, and Osama bin Laden was a financer of the Carlyle Group, which H. Walker Bush was very much a part of in terms of running the program. So as you can see, at least within my own critique, it's not necessarily that 9/11 was an inside job, but it was preventable, and that the United States, as an empire for imperialist power, did not learn its lesson in terms of tactics to prevent terrorism. Because terrorism begets terrorism, and thus, the terrorists have won. However, in the song that I wrote, I used the N-word. And it wasn't directed towards Afghani people, it was directed at black people. It was not necessarily intended to be a hateful use of the word. It was actually meant to be a satirical use of the word. I am going to say the verse in which that racial slur is in without saying the racial slur. And then I'm going to demonstrate what I had done to that phrase afterwards. It goes like this. Be at home, be a sheep, be pathetic, and let the NDAA kill more N-word. You can understand how that is very problematic, not just in the sense that I am trying to critique the police, but it actually just throws black people under the bus, and unnecessarily so. So I had rewritten the phrase, not only to not use a racial slur, but actually to drive my point home even further. It goes like this now. Be at home, be a sheep, be pathetic, and let the Patriot Act pull the trigger. I think not only have I made the song better, but I think I drove home my point with far more justice than using a fucking slur. Like, I just can't fucking believe that these white men think that it's okay to advocate for social justice using a racial slur. That is the slimiest bullshit I've ever seen. Especially for people who call themselves even adjacent to leftism. Alright, so it's fucking 5 in the morning right now, and I'm really tired of making this video. I really want to go to bed at some point, but I really need to just fucking do this, because at some point I gotta finish my other projects, and these other projects do take up more time to make than this video, and I'm just so fucking tired of giving these people even an inkling of agency in the first place, because these fucking ass clowns think that they can single-handedly task themselves to de-radicalize the alt-right pipeline and to save the fucking day. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Especially when they don't take accountability for their own fucking actions. And it's so weird because everyone tells me that they're always taking accountability for their own actions, but it's weird because whenever I tune in, which is very often, because I am curious as to when that fucking happens, because it doesn't seem like it's happening. I do tune in quite frequently just to see, I want to be proven fucking wrong. But no, they take the safe route. They don't question the status quo. What they end up doing is doing bullshit like taking PragerU videos, which by the way, PragerU is owned by a fucking oil sheik. Like, seriously? Debunking PragerU videos is honestly the bare fucking minimum. It is the bare fucking minimum. And I'll give credit where credit's due. Vosh did raise money once to Black Lives Matter and once again to Palestinian refugees. So believe me, I am not blind to that. However, they do not share the same experience as I have growing up and also being de-radicalized from far-right and reactionary beliefs. These puny fucking cis white men have never had to deal with police violence directly like I have. They have not had the fucking police called on them by members of the executioners within their own families in order to get them killed for being trans like I have. These fucking ass clowns have never had to deal with systemic ableism in their own fucking school like I have. These fucking ass clowns have never had to fucking be rejected by their own friends for being transgender like I have. These fucking ass clowns have no fucking idea what it is like to be oppressed under a fucking binary white supremacist system like I have. On top of that, they've never had to fucking be homeless before and flee to the other side of the fucking country because of a fucking security and safety risk like I have. As I mentioned, me getting death threats and me getting assaulted by the police and all of that bullshit, people will say that these people also get death threats as well. And you know what? To be fair, I can't just go without acknowledging that. But however, these fucking people have people to answer those kinds of phone calls to. And I mean, like, emails really, because I mean, I'm still from the 1990s, so I mean, whatever. Moreover, de-radicalizing from the alt-right or any form of reactionary fascism of any kind, it's not something that you should, at least ethically speaking, commodify on a competitive platform for the sake of monetization and profit. Even as a white person, albeit disabled and transgender, I have went out of my fucking way to organize with Black, Latino, and Indigenous communities in LA in order to fucking stop fascists from invading Black and Indigenous and Latino neighborhoods. Specifically, I have went out of my way to stop them from fucking invading synagogues and harassing the Jewish community. Xanderhall, you wanna make a fucking takedown video of Baked Alaska? Bitch, I fucking threw water at Baked Alaska at a protest for Syrian refugees during the Trump administration because that fucking ass clown had the audacity to go to a protest for Syrian refugees in a time of crisis when they were mourning for dead refugees, taking out his cell phone camera and fucking doxing people who were there. De-radicalizing the alt-right? Give me a fucking break. Give me an absolute fucking break. You guys are comfy in your gaming chairs. You guys are comfier than fucking capitalists themselves. You guys are the fucking capitalists. You guys are a bunch of fucking wolves at the end of the day. These fucking incellulous ass clowns have made a claim to fame by saying that they have fallen out of the alt-right pipeline as if like they have made it through, and that they are gospel, that they are Jesus, that they are the ones that will save the alt-right from falling into their own trap because they themselves were also part of the alt-right. But the problem with that is that they don't have all of the same perspective as every marginalized and colonized person in the first world or the third world for that matter. Even as a white person myself, who had to live in the broken capitalist fucking hellscape that is downtown LA while I was homeless there during COVID season, even I can attest to the fact that my experience is not the worst experience that colonized and marginalized people had to go through under the capitalist system under the US empire. When I tell the stories that I tell on this YouTube channel in the various videos that I make, whether it be about music, whether it be about oppression, transphobia, ableism, any of that bullshit, whenever I tell these stories, I am speaking solely from my experience. However, there are so many other people who we can learn from and actually gain knowledge from than a bunch of fucking cis white men who just watched a bunch of fucking PragerU videos and Steve Molyneux videos and fucking Amazing Atheist videos that they can just turn their head left and say, hey, look, it's really interesting that there's a small community of bread tubers that I can just fucking capitalize on and make money on that. Because at the end of the fucking day, de-radicalizing from reactionary beliefs is not a thing you do overnight. It's a thing you do over time. That's why I said earlier that when I was 11 years old, I started as an atheist, I became a Leninist, and then I became an anarchist. And even as an anarchist, I still held reactionary beliefs and reactionary views and reactionary tendencies. And even then, I continued to look into my own philosophy and my outlook on the world. I looked into the history of the labor union. I looked into feminism. I looked into radical queer politics. I looked into the idea of making systemic change by my own goddamn hands. There is no way that I can do the proper glory of holding all three of these men, Destiny, Xander Hall, and Vosh, accountable for the shitty behavior that they hold on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube. I can't do that with proper justice. And that's primarily because it would take way too much fucking time to dig through every little thing. And honestly, I could be making better content than this. But these incellulous men are capitalizing on the idea of converting from an alt-right position to leftist ideology. They're capitalizing on something that the labor movement has accelerated for the past 100 years. They're accelerating fascism by design. Just simply look at the comment section. These are their people. Of course, not everyone in the comment section are their people. Not everyone in the comment section will be a fucking ass clown. However, it's bound to happen. And this time, I'm not deleting those comments. Ultimately, my friends, these people are just a bunch of fucking Gasanos.
I was curious, my chat wants you to say a phrase. Would you say trans rights?
Oh no. I think trans people should have the same rights as anyone else. Why, like...
Alright, that's...
This is what equal opportunity is, you know?
Yep.
Everyone gets treated the same and judged on the same scale.
But can you say trans rights though? People want to hear the exact sentence.
Okay, well, what does this mean on a larger scale? Because if it just means they have the same rights as everyone else, then trans rights, my dudes.
All right.
Can you say white rights, Xander Hall? Do white people have rights?
I love white people. Okay, I love white people. White rights, of course. I think everybody deserves rights.
All right, there you go. That's good. I'm glad we agree.
By the way, I will not debate you. You do not deserve my emotional labor, for I owe you absolutely nothing. And more importantly, I will not watch all of your videos to get the broader context. You do not give me the same agency, and more importantly, you do not deserve that kind of revenue in your monetization. I think it's fair to say that I'm fucking done with your shit, and I think a lot of people are too. If you truly are de-radicalizing, or maybe are still in the process of de-radicalizing, do yourself a favor and look beyond the internet scope. Look beyond what is going on Twitter for making real systemic change. And I know that's hard because Twitter is so addicting and so capitalizing and so manipulative. But at the same time, it's important to remember where your values are. If your values are making a claim to fame and social capital, then you may have to reconsider why you've joined the left in the first place, so to speak. See you later.